Hey, Dr. Karen Can here with another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And we have had probably 4 ascensions this past week. And last weekend we had some back-to-back ones as well. But remember, every time we go through an ascension upgrade, you may feel it in a way that is not what you're expecting. Most likely increased sensitivity. And that could show up as emotional baggage. Suddenly you might feel angry at someone or spill something out of your mouth that's inappropriate. Sometimes you're just feeling the negative, low vibrational energies of entities and other low vibrational beings, and it's not you're feeling. So sometimes that happens, and people ask me, are there more entities lately? Is there more demonic activity lately? Because I'm really feeling it. That's what they're telling me. And the answer is, well, sort of, meaning that it's not that it wasn't there all the time, it was not detectable. And right now, when we have these higher ascension energies, anything that is not in alignment with those higher energies now wants to heal. So you're going to notice them more, they're going to bother you more, and this clearing, if you do not clear it fairly rapidly and efficiently, you could get some pretty nasty symptoms. You could, bite somebody's head off and yell at them, or create a relationship rift or something, or so if you know that if that happens, you can stop and pause. As soon as you start, that stuff comes out of your mouth, or that you feel like jumping down someone's throat, and you can pause and just say, hey, angels, please help me clear this energy. It's not mine. And you might assume it's yours, but a lot of times it isn't yours. The other thing, if you have one of the lucky few that have been part of the From Heartache to Joy Backstage Pass, or some of my patients, you do have the Ascension 1 and Ascension 2 healing products. I have recently upgraded both of them, and they get upgraded at least once a week, but the Ascension 1 was interesting. I got some feedback from Diana Cushionbach that it could be even more powerful than it is. Of course, it releases entities, but we ended up opening a gateway to some really, really positive energies. So now I downloaded that into Ascension 1. So all you need to do, seriously, is if you're getting mad or upset, or things are falling apart, or there's chaos, you just direct your energy to that symptom and say, I want Ascension 1 to clear that, or I wanted to heal that. And you can do the same thing with Ascension 2. Recently recorded a really cool story from one of my patients about using the Ascension products, and you can check that testimonial out on my YouTube page. Her name is Sarah, and she's a teacher, and she used it in her classroom, and her classroom was really kind of an emotional mess all year, and it was so difficult for her. And when she finally tried out this product on the classroom, they were all really nice, and the kids were sweet and saying they were going to miss the class when the summer was coming up. And normally during the summer months, that's when they're raring to get out of school, and they can't wait to leave school, but she got the opposite response, so that was amazing. So anyway, if you do have the Ascension products, then you're very, very fortunate, and you're able to guide these products to do the healing for you. So it's kind of a no-brainer. So, but the theme of this past week and is ongoing is dimensional boundaries, rifts, and dissonance. So what do I mean by that? Well, there's 3 kind of things that have shown up in the last ascensions. One is that in addition to healthy spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, energetic, relationship boundaries, now we have a 7th boundary that we can test and see how healthy it is, dimensional boundaries. So what I mean by that is, are you in a single dimension? And I don't necessarily mean your bodies, because that's a different issue, but how happy are your dimensional boundaries? Do other dimensions or things from other dimensions intrude in your space, in this dimension, when they're not supposed to? So you can check, how healthy are my dimensional boundaries, and get a number on that. The second thing we've noticed, this was we kind of figured this out before, but with each of your bodies, your spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, energetic, they're called other things, in the energy world, but I kind of call it those things to make it easier for lay people to understand. So what I discovered this week was that it's okay if you're mental body is at an ascension level of, say, 7. Your physical body might be at the 4th dimension, resonating at that, and then your emotional body might be at the 9th dimension, and that's just fine as long as everybody in that body resonates at the same level. But if you have a particular body, say in my case it was the spiritual body, was resonating in multiple different dimensions, in this case 2 different dimensions, and there are different parts of the spiritual body. We don't go into great detail, but one is called the causal body, and so I'm going to separate it from causal body and the rest of the spiritual body. Well, most of my spiritual body was at a level of into the I think it was the 18th or 19th dimension. Okay, that was most of the spiritual body was in that higher dimension. So very, very, very high frequency there. But the causal body was still at I think 10th dimension, something like that. So there was a 9-dimensional gap between these parts of the spiritual body, and that caused a problem. I could definitely feel different. I feel funky. I don't feel like quite together. It's hard to explain, but I can sometimes notice that when people have some weird pains that don't get better, no matter what they do, they've tried LifeWave patches, they've tried acupuncture, they are already brain balanced, they've tried energy healing, traditional energy healing, it's not working, then oftentimes it's like they're resonating in multiple dimensions, and that's the problem. So if your physical body is doing that, that gives a lot of problems. I have found a lot of starseeds have that issue, and their spiritual energies are so high, parts of them are just all over the place. The brain, the pineal gland might be in the 12th dimension, but their liver's in the 3rd dimension. It's like, hello, you're not talking to each other. So I call that dimensional dissonance. And then there's also what we call the dimensional gap. So if there's a gap, within the same body, okay, within the emotional body, if there's a gap between these different dimensions, usually it's tolerated, but when you get to a gap of over 5, a distance of 5 or more, then you're really going to start to have some symptoms, and especially if you're empathic like me and you can feel all this kind of stuff. So those are my own terminology. So if you look it up on Google, Mr. Google may or may not have those terminologies. So dimensional boundaries we're talking about just dimensional gap between different parts of the same body resonating in 2 different or 2 or more different places, and if that gap is over 5 different dimensions, then you may actually have some significant symptoms. And then dimensional dissonance, meaning that instead of your physical body, all of your physical body resonating in the same dimension, they're skipping in and out of different dimensions. So I call that dimensional dissonance. And we actually do some healing work in the Topocan healing to integrate all those pieces. So you can, check in with yourself and say, gee, how many dimensions is my physical body resonating at? How many different dimensions? If you get anything more than 1, then you can do a Topocan healing command and say it is now commanded that all the parts of my bodies be resonating into a single dimension for each body, whichever is for the highest and greatest good. And oftentimes, for example, if your physical body, parts of your physical body are resonating in the 7th dimension, the other part in the 3rd dimension, when you do that dimensional syncing, so SYNCING, a computer term, synchronization, when you do that dimensional syncing, oftentimes it'll end up somewhere in the middle. Between the 2 ends. It won't be the super high one, it won't be the super low one, somewhere in the middle. So I call that dimensional syncing. And a lot of times people feel better, when we do that healing. So cool. So that's the main thing I wanted to tell you about today. There's still lots of little things going on. We've had some alien infections that are finally healing from Mother Earth. And of course, I feel everything that she's going through. So I've definitely have some challenges lately with my gut and, not being able to digest solid food while these so-called alien infections are being healed, and purging those finally from my body, and having some temporary inflammatory symptoms, which sometimes is completely appropriate and what's needed to be done in order to rid myself or heal these infections. If you notice, sometimes if you're sensitive like me and you notice suddenly you start sneezing for no reason or feeling congested, check your immune system. I notice that if I check my immune system, normally it's like 95 or higher %. And then if I drop down to a 70 or a 60, then I know, something is up. And usually it's an outside force. And so we've caught a couple times where various different military or government or, different countries have been doing some sort of experiments, some geopathic experiments, or blasting, these things in the air. It's affecting all of us, even if we're not close by. And it messes up Mother Earth's immune system. It messes up my immune system. And so I just kind of clear that negative energy and neutralize it and help Mother Earth get her immune system back on track, her microbiome back on track. And then oftentimes mine just pops right back up. And then if I have to, I do my own clearing. And then suddenly, stop sneezing. Stop sneezing. Don't get a cold. It is amazing how this happens. So if you did not catch the show with Jenny No and we did some really cool activations to activate and for you to control your clairsentience, your clairaudience, your clairgustance, essence, claircognizance, basically your spiritual gifts. So definitely check out that show. That was Monday. It is now on the replay, so check out my blog for that link. And you can even download the show to your computer if you like. All my Blog Talk Radio shows you can download and share and post, if you will. That would be totally awesome to spread the good news. So there's definitely energy healings on there, so you will get some activations for free, and I hope you really enjoy that. If you have not already listened to it, we got lots of great feedback from it, so I'm excited. So stay tuned. We're also going to have some really cool energy healers coming on, hopefully once a month, to do some free healings for everybody. And let me introduce you to some of my awesome energy healing colleagues. And so for next week is usually the first Monday of each month is the LifeWave radio show. And so we are going to be talking about the symptom of dizziness. And I've asked Dr. Dennis if he could talk about ringing in the ears too, because that is a really frustrating symptom. And people are just like up in arms about what's causing it, but in Chinese medicine, it's pretty cut and dry, actually, what's causing it. So stay tuned for that radio show next week at noon. And last thing, if you have not joined the From Heartache to Joy, definitely you want to do that for all those free, wonderful healing activations. You can listen to the replay for free. It's an amazing, amazing deal if you're into energy healing like I am. So make sure you go to www.karencan.com/FHTJ, and that'll send you directly to that page where you can opt in to be on their mailing list, and you can get alerts of all the free stuff going on. And mark your calendars for Monday, October 3rd, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I will be doing my Tele-Summit debut From Heartache to Joy, talking about how to clear entities, and we're going to be doing some real cool healings there as well. So have a wonderful week. Again, shore up your boundaries. Ground is very, very important now to do all those wonderful energy exercises. And I look forward to talking with you next week. Bye for now. Love you all.